Good morning. Tammy's getting donuts. She'll be here in a second. Catherine, you mentioned red eye glow. What is that? Is that bad? I just got a Chihuahua puppy who had 2 chocolate parents, and in the light her eyes are red glow. Red. Yes. Well, that is the chocolate gene. So if you got 2 chocolate parents, then they have to make a chocolate puppy, which is what you got, and chocolate will show up as a red eye glow. And that is very pronounced as this puppy gets older. And you're already seeing it in the daylight, so I know that it's very pronounced. If you take her into a dark room with the lights off and the video light on your phone on, you do a video, you'll see she's got a really demonic red eye glow, and it's absolutely fine. It's just to do with the way that the light reflects on the back of the eye with a chocolate pigment dog. So good deal, nothing wrong with that. Blah blah blah. I've been reading, talking about taping legs. Andrea says, I've been reading 20 minutes 4 times a day, but didn't hear in the video 12 hours. How long do you recommend it? Our pups are 16 days old. Leave it on. Don't take it off. The tape will come off. Same thing with the ears. The tape will come off all by itself. The other puppy's playing with it, mum playing with the puppy. You know, the tape will come off all by itself. Leave the tape on. When it comes off, if the legs are still, if they're still not getting up on their legs properly, put the tape back on. There is no 4 hours a day business. It's 24/7 until this is fixed. So the time to get this sorted out is soon. While especially, you know, your doggies are at 2 weeks, so you're at a good time to start this. The sooner you do it, the longer you leave it on, the quicker it gets fixed. If you leave it too long without fixing it, then the bones start to harden up and you won't be able to fix it. So start now, keep it on. When it comes off, put it back on again. Keep on doing that until that dog is walking around properly, and then you're done. WT Farm Girl says, my Frenchton mum had a near record litter of 12 puppies. That is a big litter, no doubt about it. She says the Frenchie record is 13, so yep, that is a big litter. We've had litters of 11, never 12. She had them a week early, with no signs of labor. Lost one, but instantly began bottle feeding. So let's just talk about this for a second. So the first thing is this can be a problem. You get big litters, they tend to come early, and 5 days early is really danger zone. You're likely to have all kinds of problems at that kind of time frame. So the other thing that can happen here with big litters is that you can get a puppy in there that doesn't have a very good placenta connection, and that puppy dies. And then the puppy gets necrotic and it pushes labor forward by, maybe a week or sooner. And you can have an aborted litter. So this gets to be a real problem. And so big litters are great, but they're also, they're a blessing in one way. You get a nice lot of puppies, but they are always a lot of work, and always they can be pretty precarious. So to give you an example, we had a litter of 10 from one of our fluffy girls here about 1.5 years ago, and that was 10 puppies, and there were 3 or 4 of those puppies that were sub 5 ounce puppies, and they took an incubator and bottle and tube feeding for the first 5 or 6 days to get them up to 8 ounces where they could be with the rest of their brothers and sisters. So you mentioned here, I'm going to keep on going here, I instantly began bottle feeding the smallest ones. Good. To take some off mum. She's been great feeding all 11, so a week now, but many of the puppies are refusing the bottle. I've got the same style bottle, fresh goat's milk. Some eat fine, but others spit it right out. I found that feeding better while sitting with their litter mates as opposed to taking them away. None of the puppies have ever lost weight, only gained, but I know eventually 11 trying to feed with swarm poor mama as they get older. Well, here's my recommendation to you. First off, if they're not taking a bottle, guess what? The only choice you have is a tube feed. That's it. If puppies don't get calories, they will die. The other problem you've got here is puppies that were born a week early typically have, they don't have the right level of surfactant in their lungs, and their lungs stick together and they can't breathe very well. And this gets to be a real problem. And so those puppies typically need oxygen too. So the things that I think that you should have on hand and start using for this situation you're in is an incubator. Look, donuts. A little puppy. Yeah. An incubator. Oxygen. feeding tube goes more. And here's the thing about, Tammy, how quick is it to feed 5 puppies with a tube feeding?
5 puppies?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, maybe a minute, 2 minutes.
Yeah. How long does it take to feed those puppies with a bottle? 5 puppies.
Oh gosh.
5 puppies.
Take about 20 minutes per dog. 15 minutes per puppy, probably.
2 hours.
Yeah.
And you got to feed them every 3 hours. So you got to spend.
You don't get any sleep.
No, exactly. Exactly, and also that you know exactly what each puppy's got. So start tube feeding. I mean, people get worried about tube feeding; they're very nervous about it, and I fully understand that. The first time that Tammy and I tube fed, you're very nervous about what you're doing. You're worried you're going to get in the lung or whatever, but you don't. We've got a video of videos on this. It's really straightforward, but that is exactly what you should be doing, WT Farm Girl. That's what you should be doing, and
I think
you know.
This way.
So what we do is we have the incubator that has a little light in it, and we put that beside the bed with the puppies that need some help. And we leave the bottle in that incubator because it keeps the milk nice and warm. Set the alarm for about 3:30, 4 o'clock. Go to bed at midnight. Give them a feeding before we do that. Wake up at 3, 4 o'clock. You can literally feed those puppies in a couple of minutes, and you don't hardly disturb your sleep, and you can get on with life. So it's so much more livable that if you've got to feed them with a bottle, you know, you're going to be a wreck. You could be doing this for a couple of weeks. So really, the answer is start bottle feeding. All right. I commented on Trucking with CB about they talked about they'd got a health test done on their dog and it was fine. And I said, yeah, but that doesn't mean that you don't have problems with double recessives. And they asked, what are double recessives? So, for a gene to be expressed, to make that gene apparent, like if you've got a dog that's blue, then it takes 2 double recessive genes. The recessive gene is always written as a lowercase, so a normal dog would be big D, not blue. A dog that's a carrier would be big D, little d. That is 1 copy of the recessive blue gene. That dog would not be blue because it takes 2 copies. If it hooks up with another dog that has a copy of the recessive gene and it gives it out, the puppy ends up being little d, that is a blue dog. Great, wonderful. There are other problems though, like on the horizon here. There are other recessive genes, and I mean there are thousands of them that are not documented, that you don't know, you can't test for them, but they're there. And if by chance a puppy gets both copies, then it expresses that gene and it can cause all kinds of problems. I'll give you an example. Huntington's disease. This is something that affects human beings. And Huntington's disease shows up typically when you're about 25 to 35 years old and it kills you. And there are some places in the world where there is a lot of, I guess there's been a lot of, you know, what we'd call inbreeding over the years. And so it's a common recessive gene. And because of that, it's kind of a death sentence for these people. And you know, a fairly large population there has a copy of this, and so some of them get 2 copies, and you can test for it now, which ends up that their life ends horribly at about 25 to 35 years old. So recessive genes are things that you can't control, but you can control the likelihood of you getting recessive genes. And the answer to this is, if you do line breeding or inbreeding, you up your chances of getting recessive genes that match up significantly. For instance, if you breed a brother to a sister, there's a thing called breed coefficient. And the breed coefficient says that because you did that you've got, I forget what the number is on that, I think it's a coefficient of 25%, but it's a very high probability that you could get double recessive genes that would negatively affect the puppy. So that's why you've got to be very careful and why we don't ever do that kind of stuff. Okay. Someone's saying thank you. Susan Brocksmith says, I always get good luck with Oxymama, Oxymate and folic acid to give as soon as the female hits her heat cycle. Yep, absolutely, good for you. Somebody asked, would you buy a dog with a copy of CMR1? CMR1 is one of those things that's on a health panel test. It takes 2 copies for it to be expressed. CMR1 is an eye defect. I suspect, I mean, I've never seen a dog that's gone blind, and I know that there's been dogs out there that I've seen that have had 2 copies of CMR1. So I suspect that it's probably not as big a deal as there are probably a lot more significant things out there. But I mean, you'd rather buy a dog that doesn't have it. But if you've got a dog that has a copy of CMR1, probably not an issue. And if you're going to breed that dog, breed to a non-CMR1 dog and you'll be fine. And the last one, has anybody used studs from us? So I'm surprised that nobody's answered on that, and you should. We would appreciate that. How many people have used our studs? In the last 10 years, probably 3,000 people. I mean, a huge number of people. So this is what we do. How many studs have we got, Tammy?
I would have thought more.
Yeah, probably right. Probably right. I mean, you know, we've been getting really strong on this for the last 4 years, and it's taken some time to develop our skill set and our lineup. We've been studying dogs for, Frenchies for, I don't know.
Well, we've been doing this for 19 years, and studying dogs probably
10, 12,
yeah,
13
13
like that.
years. Yeah.
And it's one of those things that, you know.
That's where I was thinking that's a low number.
Yes, it's one of those things that, you know, when you start off, people don't know you, people are reluctant to use you, and as you develop your game and you get dogs pregnant. And by the way, when we first started doing this, we weren't very good at it. And that's why we invented shipmates.
Learn by your mistakes.
Yeah, you learn by your mistakes. So that's one of the things.
That's why James does all these videos.
Yeah, so that's one of the things to watch. I mean, I don't want to knock other people's stud dogs, because there are obviously some very nice stud dogs out there. And we are, by the way, we are breeding Kit, our Euro Hero, back to Sarah Longchamp, I think.
No, Champagne.
Champagne, excuse me, Sarah Champagne, who's got a really gorgeous, full, fluffy Euro Hero.
Yeah.
And so there's an example of somebody who's got a good stud dog that we trust, and she's done well for us. But the point here is that, and I'm getting off topic a little bit, but I'm going to keep going. The point here is it does take time and effort to learn how to do all this properly, so that you can be successful, and more importantly, so your customers can be successful. And so that's something that we work very hard at. So, you know, 10 years of doing this, first couple of years, pretty much rubbish. I mean, it doesn't mean we didn't get dogs pregnant, but not the rate we get dogs pregnant now. These days, we're very successful at this. And let me get the light on this a little bit better. Yeah, so, I mean, these days, we send out, 3 to 6 samples every day. Most people are getting 2 loads from us, so let's just say that's an average of 25 samples. Let's say that's 24 samples a week. That's 12 samples basically at 2 breedings. So that is about 400 breedings a year. And so if you consider that 6 years of doing this, that's 2,400 people. That's
just in 6 years.
Yes, that's a lot of.
Yeah. So we've been doing it for 12 years.
Yes.
So
yes.
I know the number you were throwing out there
was
way low.
Yeah, but the point here is somebody who's done 100 breedings presumably knows what they're doing, because they wouldn't be in business. Somebody who's done 1,000 breedings, I think they're probably doing a pretty good job. Somebody who's doing 4,000 breedings like us, I would venture to guess that we're one of the top stud providers in the United States. I don't know that that's true.
No.
Well, not the only ones. There are other names that I know of. You know.
No, we're not those that say we're the first and the only one, because this is a big old world. For you to be the first and the only one, this is a huge world. There's no way.
Well, there's lots of competition, isn't there? There's lots of choices. So, you know, you look at.
Sounds good when.
You look at our price on studs. Definitely, you can find studs that are less expensive than ours. But here's what we have to offer: experience. That's the first thing. We know how to do this. We know how to help you with the timing. That's number one. Number two is we've got really nice dogs, and so Tammy is extremely good at finding these dogs. Some of them we've grown ourselves.
Cody's does a good job.
Cody's got a great eye for dogs. He knows what he's doing. He's really good at it too. Exactly. And then we are here. We're not just. I can tell you this, for the majority of people that we've used for stud service, is you pay them money, you never hear from them again. That's it. They want all the money up front, and you never hear from them again. We are totally different. First thing is we don't charge all the money up front. So we do different deals on this depending on the circumstances and whether you've used us before, but we only take a portion of the stud fee up front. And then we are on top of this the entire way. There's going to be questions about the pregnancy. There's going to be questions about timing the AI. And since we have not been paid the full stud fee, by the way, guess what? Our goals are exactly the same as yours. Where those other people aren't concerned about what the outcome is, we are very concerned, not just because it's the right thing to do, but because we want to get paid and we want you to have a successful litter. So we're here to help you with time of the C-section, whelping, weaning puppies, all of these things. Aren't we, Tammy? I mean, we really do spend a lot of time.
When we sell puppies, we don't take your money and say, go away, leave us alone.
Same
We're
thing.
here for the long haul.
Same thing.
You got questions, you got, just anything. We're here.
And if you buy a girl puppy from us, then we give special deals out for people when it's time to breed. So that's also of interest too. But you can get those details as you call us up. So we're not going to talk about prices and those kind of things here, because that wasn't really the question. But the answer is, if you've used one of our studs, and tell us what the results were, because I know there's got to be lots of happy customers out there.
Yeah. I want to say something. I have my little French Bulldog baby boy. He is a fluffy carrier, chocolate fawn, carries blue, carries cream, carries AT, and remember, he carries fluffies, so he can make full fluffies, fluffy carriers, lilac and tans, blue and tans, chocolate and tans, and platinums. So please call me at 580-799-1910. Next time you do a video, I'm going to go like this. Go like this.
Show them what you've got there. That's how I was showing.
Those are my donuts.
Well, show them.
I've got people coming to the house today, so I'm sharing.
Not with our customers, though.
I'm going to go so James can continue talking.
Bye, everybody. See you. Hey, thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate people who subscribe to me. It helps me, encourage me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.